So Square Enix announced a surprise demo release of their upcoming next generation PlayStation 5 and PC exclusive Forspoken. We played it, we'll tell you the good, the bad, and the ugly, and get you prepared for when it ultimately drops on January 24th, 2023.
And wait a minute. First things first. First things first. What is Forspoken? What kind of game is it?
Forspoken is an upcoming action RPG by Square Enix, developed by Luminous Productions, who previously created Final Fantasy 15. So this is their first game since then.
The team who brought us Final Fantasy 15.
Yes.
Already not sold.
Final Fantasy 15 left a okay taste in my mouth. I wouldn't even say a bad taste, but not necessarily a good one. I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it. I thought it was just a mediocre Final Fantasy. So I was a little skeptical coming into this game, but damn, the one thing I'll tell you is it looks phenomenal, bro. Like, it looks great. You can tell this is a next gen only game. You can tell it's on PS5 and PC only and not PS4 like a lot of other Sony releases.
I played it in the ray tracing mode with in the 120 hertz, which goes slightly above 30 frames, probably like 40, 45, something around there. And I thought it was a beautiful game. I turned it off. I went to quality mode just to make sure that this was higher than 30 frames, which I instantly could tell that it was, because that 30 frames is bad. But then I turned it back on to ray tracing mode, and I instantly saw the difference in the grass with the ray tracing. You see a bunch of shadows for everything everywhere. It significantly increased the graphical fidelity of the game.
So I definitely understand why you want that ray tracing mode. For me personally though, I don't know that 45 frames a second is really good for me. I tried it in the other games like Horizon and God of War Ragnarok when they implemented them. And for me, I could still see that it's not that silky smooth 60.
I mean, it's a single player game. This is how I'm going into it. Like, we paid $500 for these consoles. I
Yeah.
want to see these $500 can do. So I love seeing ray tracing. As long as it ain't 30 frames, I got no problem. 30 frames I can't do, but 45, I'll suck it up for that sweet ray tracing.
I want to know if this game is an action RPG. Tell me about the combat system. Tell me about the control scheme, if it's good. The team from Final Fantasy 15, I think that's the real big reason that I didn't like it. It was the control scheme was terrible to me. I couldn't spend 100 hours playing a game like that.
You basically fight using spells. So you push like R2 and you do your basic attack. You hold R1 and you can switch the type of attack it's going to be between three different types. You can switch between fire and rock. That's what you have in the beginning, or stone. So you switch between those two, then you got three different types of attack, which you switch with R1. Then you have basically assists with L2 and the attacks with R2. So you're moving around, pushing those two buttons to do your moves. And you push circle to dodge, which is also like the parkour button where you use your magic Jordans and start flying all over the place.
I definitely enjoyed the fighting system. I like that you were able to switch between buffs and debuffs and attacks on the R2 and L2 buttons respectively. I thought that was really intuitive. I like how you're able to switch between her types of attack, from like the far range stone based attacks to the short range with the fire blade based attack.
The reason I wasn't really feeling the combat was because when I started playing it, the difficulty defaulted to easy, and I didn't know that. So I played for about 45 minutes on easy, and I was just bored to tears. But then once I saw that it was easy, and I switched it to normal, and then later on in the day, I played again on normal. It felt much better. And then, I was traversing through the world, getting to the next objectives, and I don't know. I think the taste of easy kind of soured the game for me a little bit.
But one of the coolest things I liked about this game was the fact that you have like the way to traverse in the world. You have like these rock formations on the walls, and if you hold square, you look like what seems to be this Spider-Man-esque kind of mechanic where you can like zip to these specific points and you start zipping from rock to rock formation. It looks like you're swinging almost. That thing was pretty awesome. So after a while, you kind of get used to it. At first, they sprinkle a few around the world, so just to get you used to it. But after a while, you start to see a lot of the rock formations. So you start swinging around, you start going crazy. And I was like, this actually makes it super fun. I really enjoyed that part.
I was trying to figure out how to do that. I couldn't figure it out. Yeah. There was no tutorial that told you how to do it. I've seen like the production videos, like, oh yeah, this is traversal, this is combat, and I'm like, how? I see the things. I see the things on the wall. I can't do the Spider-Man thing. That's what I want to do.
And don't forget, if you're enjoying our video, please hit that like button. And if you like what we're doing here at Games Point Blank, hit that subscribe button as well. We do release videos weekly, and we want to make sure that you guys get all the notifications for when our new content drops. Thanks once again. So one of the negatives I would say about it is that the tutorial doesn't necessarily tell you how to do everything. Yeah, it gives you the breakdown of how to swap magic, how to switch between attack and buffs and debuffs, how to switch between the different fighting attacks. But it doesn't necessarily tell you how to really traverse in terms of that Spider-Man mechanic, the swinging around. It wasn't until after the world actually opened up for me that I was like, wow, like now I can actually do stuff. I can run around. There was stuff that I was seeing in the game that I had no idea what it was. The game didn't really explain it to me, like opening treasure chests, finding a hidden cat somewhere, and I was like, what is this stuff? So I think the demo was not really clear on that, but how can it be, right? When we're talking about an action RPG and all the things that make this up, how are they going to explain that all in a bite-sized portion in a demo? Like, that is one of the difficulties that we always talk about when we're thinking about demos.
I think this is a bad demo. That's what I think. Like they should have put you a little bit more in the beginning, maybe, to actually show you how to do some of these traversal moves. Because I saw the orbs and the rock formations on the walls, and I knew I could swing on them, but I didn't know how.
Yeah.
And there's nothing telling me how to do it. I was fighting the groups of alligators in like the lake, and because I went there first, I didn't do the tutorial on how to dodge. So I'm fighting seven alligators at once, dodging them because I'm just like, I wonder if it's circle, and I'm just moving out of the way. I'm like, I guess this is a dodge, but it looks like the parkour, so I wasn't for sure. And then when I finished whatever I was doing in the lake, I went to the first objective, which is the bridge, where you fight like 15 enemies, and then that's where the tutorial is for how to dodge. And it's like, come on, why would they put you in an open area where there's tutorials and objectives, but they're telling you that it's like, here, do whatever you want.
Maybe that's later on in the demo they start to break things down, or it's kind of just like, figure it out, guys. But yeah, they're not doing a good job of breaking it down. Even something as simple as healing. I had no idea that you can actually craft your heal potions. The game didn't tell me that. I'm just low on health, and I'm like, something has to give. So I go into the options menu, and I see that you have potions. The potions are listed, but I have no potions. It wasn't until I went to the save point with the fire that I was like, oh, you can actually craft these things.
It seems fun. The easy mode default, that was the first strike. Second strike was the tutorials. And I was like, oh, but then when you're playing it, when I put it on normal, and I got further along, and when I'm fighting like groups of enemies on normal that have multiple vulnerabilities and different, where I have to actually switch the spells, I was like, oh yeah, this is good. But it's just in the back of my mind is all these little things. It's like, why did you do it this way? And it turns you off a little bit. But you know, I want to finish the demo and see, and like try and form a better opinion.
Because the tutorial wasn't so overwhelming with information at first, and it kind of made you learn and figure things out on your own, that it kind of put a damper on some of the mechanics for me specifically. I will say though that because of the way the demo was broken down, that what was initially a guaranteed purchase for me in January is now kind of like I'll wait to see what reviews are looking for this game.
Yeah, I agree. Once with the little bit that I played, I was like, man, this is $70. I see why. I see the production values, but it's like, oh man, but this is it's $70.
Hey, you didn't even know how to play the game, really.
Like graphically, it's a impressive game. It's a huge open world. It has ray tracing, has above 30 frames. That's all very impressive for this gen. Like the other games that's come out like this, like Gotham Knights, got 30 frames, and you got this game that's a massive open world. Foliage everywhere. You see the shadows from the sunlight. Like it's very impressive. This is one of the rare exclusive next gen games. That's why, you know, it has a lot of potential because you're not seeing these graphics in other games. But then these just minor things is if they are fixed from playing the game from the beginning fresh and this is no longer an issue, it'd be great. And then obviously depending on the story, if it gets you invested, because if it got some terrible story, it's not going to get past the 7.
If you liked our content, mash that like button, and if you're new to the channel and want to see more content, hit the subscribe button. Thanks for watching.